You have spent so long pulling back the heavy bowstring of your life, aiming your eyes at distant horizons, waiting for that one elusive moment when everything finally falls into place. Your fingers ache from holding the tension, your body is tight with anticipation, and your soul wears the noble, weary face of the archer. You are forever looking toward the next mountain, searching for a truth that seems to sit just beyond the reach of your hands. You run toward futures that keep moving further away, wondering why the sanctuary you build in your mind never materializes in the room where you actually stand. You tell yourself that peace is coming soon, that once the next challenge is cleared, once the next goal is conquered, once the people around you finally understand your heart, you will allow yourself to sit down and rest. But the horizon is an illusion that retreats as fast as you sprint toward it. On this day, August 2, 2026, something profound and quiet is calling your spirit to stop running. The unseen currents of cause and condition, moving through the vast webs of karma, have guided your footsteps to this exact space before the sun dips below the western edge of the earth. Your greatest victory is not waiting for you out there in the world you have been fighting so tirelessly to change, to fix, or to conquer. It is not hidden in a future achievement, a new journey across distant continents, or the quiet validation of those who failed to see your true light. The battle you have been fighting has always taken place within the quiet chambers of your own mind. The victory you have yearned for across countless seasons is waiting to be claimed right now before darkness falls today. If you feel weary from relentless searching, if you carry a deep, restless ache that never allows you to settle into this present breath, listen closely to what is about to be spoken. This is not a coincidence. This is the moment your spirit turns inward to discover the timeless truth that will set you free forever. Seeker, if this message found you today, this is not random. The Buddha taught that nothing arises without causes and conditions. If these words have found you today, your journey has already begun. There is a lesson your heart is ready to understand. I am Master Tenzin, a humble monk devoted to preserving the timeless wisdom of the Dharma. What you are about to hear is an ancient teaching inspired by the Buddha's path, a lesson to free the mind from suffering, awaken inner peace, and illuminate the road to enlightenment. The spirit of the archer is built upon expansion, enthusiasm, and a relentless quest for meaning. You possess a bright fire inside you that yearns to explore, to know, to break free from limitations, and to soar beyond the narrow boundaries that confine ordinary lives. You are not satisfied with superficial answers or quiet compromises. You want to touch the stars, to understand the grand design, to leave an indelible mark upon the canvas of existence. Yet this very fire can become the source of your deepest suffering when it is misunderstood by the ego. How many times have you told yourself that once you reach that distant shore, once you change your environment, once you accomplish that grand dream, or once you find the perfect sanctuary, you will finally sit down in peace? This is the grand illusion of the mind that the Sakyamuni Buddha exposed over 2,500 years ago. We fall into the habit of believing that peace is a physical place we must travel to, a high target we must hit, or a reward waiting for us at the end of a grueling struggle. But when you attach your inner peace to a future condition, you condemn yourself to a perpetual state of waiting. You become like a desperate traveler chasing a shimmering mirage across the burning sands of a desert. The faster you run toward it, the further it recedes into the heat. The arrow you shoot into the future drags your heart along with it, pulling you violently out of the only reality that actually exists, which is right here, in this present moment. Look honestly at your life up to this day, August 2, 2026. How much vital energy have you spent worrying about what comes next? How many precious days have slipped through your fingers like loose sand while your eyes were fixed on an imaginary tomorrow? The ancient wisdom of the Dharma teaches us that the fundamental root of human suffering is attachment, specifically, the attachment to outcomes that have not yet occurred and conditions that do not currently exist. When you measure your internal worth by how far your arrow flies or how precisely it hits the center of the target, every delay feels like a defeat, every obstacle feels like a cage, and every quiet moment of stillness feels like wasted time. But true victory does not belong to the archer who hits the furthest target in the field. True victory belongs to the archer who learns to stand completely still, anchored deeply in the sacred presence of the current moment, knowing with absolute certainty that nothing external can ever add to or take away from the innate purity of the awakened soul. When you realize that the target and the archer are one, the need to shoot vanishes, and the heavy bow falls naturally from your tired hands. A timeless Buddhist guide has just been released, created to help you carry the wisdom of the Buddha into every day of your life, long after this video ends. If your mind has been overwhelmed, your heart burdened, or your path uncertain, this may be exactly what you've been searching for. For more than 2,500 years, the teachings of the Buddha have helped millions of people overcome fear, anxiety, attachment, anger, and suffering. Now, those timeless teachings have been gathered into one powerful collection. The Buddhist Wisdom Bible, 365 Ancient Teachings for Inner Peace, Success and Happiness, is a 250-page treasury of timeless wisdom, featuring 365 profound Buddhist teachings designed to help you cultivate inner peace, emotional resilience, clarity, wisdom, success, and lasting happiness. One lesson each day. You'll also receive 5 exclusive bonus guides carefully selected to deepen your understanding of Buddhist philosophy and help you apply these ancient principles to your daily life. Are you ready to transform your mind and change your life one teaching at a time? Get instant access through the first pinned comment. Special launch pricing is available for the next 72 hours. The fire that drives you forward is a powerful force, but when left unexamined by the light of mindfulness, it burns away your tranquility and leaves behind the gray ash of emotional disappointment. In the Buddhist tradition, we speak of the 3 inner fires that consume the peace of the human heart: the fire of craving, the fire of aversion, and the fire of delusion. As a seeker walking through the landscape of life, your greatest challenge is often the fire of craving, not necessarily a coarse craving for material possessions or sensory pleasures, but a subtle, restless craving for the next experience, the next truth, the next open door, or the next level of personal growth. When life slows down, or when circumstances force you to remain in one place, that internal fire transforms into silent frustration, irritability, and pervasive anxiety. You feel as though life is moving too slowly, as though you are wasting your high potential while stuck in traffic, trapped in an unfulfilling routine, or enduring a prolonged season of waiting. But consider the timeless wisdom of nature. The mountain river does not rush with anxious panic to reach the distant ocean. It simply flows, conforming perfectly to the rocks, valleys, and narrow canyons along its path. It does not fight the bends in the riverbed. It yields completely, yet through its gentle, ceaseless movement, it inevitably reaches the vastness of the sea. Impatience is nothing more than the ego throwing a quiet tantrum against reality. It is the childish refusal to accept things as they are in this single, sacred breath. When you resist the present moment, you create an invisible friction inside your spirit, and that friction generates heat, tension, and deep suffering. The Buddha taught that peace is found not by forcing the river of life to flow faster, but by letting go of the muddy bank and trusting the deep currents of existence. Before the sun sets today, look with radical honesty at the areas in your life where you have been pushing, striving, demanding, and insisting that reality bend to your personal timeline. Notice how much heaviness that constant striving has accumulated in your chest, your neck, and your jaw. The greatest victory you can achieve right now is not forcing a locked doorway to open, but loosening your tight grip and breathing softly into the present space. When you cool the burning fire of impatience through the gentle water of mindfulness, you discover that this exact moment, exactly as it presents itself, contains everything you need to be complete, whole, and utterly at peace. To truly understand the road to spiritual freedom, we must look closely at how the human mind constructs its own subtle cages through the belief in intellectual superiority, philosophical rightness, and fixed opinions. The archer's spirit is naturally philosophical, gifted with optimism, broad vision, and a deep hunger for universal truth. You want to understand the big picture of existence, to solve the complex spiritual riddles of life, and to guide others toward the light of understanding. Yet, there is a dangerous trap hidden within the noble pursuit of knowledge. It is the trap of spiritual pride, dogmatic certainty, and rigid opinions. When you become overly attached to your own views, Your wisdom curdles into self-righteousness, and your open heart closes into an impenetrable fortress. The Sakyamuni Buddha repeatedly warned his disciples against holding tightly to intellectual concepts, comparing even his own profound teachings to a crude wooden raft. He explained that a raft is constructed for one purpose only: to cross a dangerous, turbulent river to reach the safety of the further shore. But once you have stepped off the raft onto the firm ground of the opposite bank, you do not strap the heavy, wet wooden raft onto your back and drag it across the dry land for the rest of your journey. You leave it behind on the shore and walk forward light and unburdened. Many times, your deepest inner unrest comes from insisting that life must conform to your principles, or that other people must see the universe through your specific lens. You burn with quiet indignation when others act out of ignorance, when political systems fail, or when the world seems disorganized, unfair, and unjust. But true wisdom does not wage war against the darkness. It simply shines its own light without condition. Right view, the fundamental first step of the Noble Eightfold Path, is not about accumulating an endless library of spiritual concepts or convincing everyone that you possess the ultimate truth. Right view is the clear, humble, unvarnished seeing of reality without the distorting lens of personal preference. It is knowing that all conditioned things are impermanent, that holding on to anger toward others is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to perish, and that every single soul is walking their own intricate path of cause, effect, and karmic evolution. My dear friend, take a soft breath right now and settle deeply into your heart. In the comments below, write these words: I release the need to search, and I choose to be present. Let us build a temple of quiet minds together in this space. If this teaching is speaking to your heart today, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your simple gesture allows the light of the Dharma to reach thousands of searching souls across the world who are waiting for peace. Consider what true freedom really means to your spirit. For so long, you have defined freedom as outer mobility, the ability to come and go as you please, to avoid uncomfortable restrictions, to break free from monotonous routine, and to wander across the earth without boundaries or commitments. You fear being trapped, restricted, or tied down by obligations that feel heavy to your expansive, free-spirited nature. But let us sit together and ask a deeper, more courageous question. If your freedom depends on being in a specific geographic location, having a certain amount of space, or maintaining complete control over your external circumstances, are you truly free? Or are you simply a subtle prisoner to your own endless desires for comfort, novelty, and movement? The ancient Dharma reveals that physical freedom is merely a fragile illusion if the inner mind remains enslaved by its own fears, attachments, and compulsive reactions. You can travel to the furthest corners of the earth, sit under the vast canopy of ancient rainforests, or stand atop high windswept mountain peaks. But if your mind is carrying unhealed resentment, quiet regret, or the constant fear of missing out, you are carrying your prison cell with you, wherever your feet may wander. True freedom, which the Buddha called vimutti, is not the freedom to run away from discomfort or uncomfortable environments. It is the unshakable freedom of a mind that remains calm, spacious, clear, and completely unburdened in the very center of the life storm. It is the absolute ability to sit quietly in a small, windowless room, facing life's greatest emotional challenges, and feel as vast, untamed, and luminous as the midnight sky. When you stop running away from difficult internal weather, when you turn around and face your loneliness, your sorrow, your boredom, and your deep-seated fears with gentle, non-judgmental awareness, the power of those emotions dissolves like morning mist in the warm sun. You discover that the high stone walls you thought were locking you in were built entirely out of your own thoughts. You do not need to fly across oceans or retreat to a hidden sanctuary to find liberation. Liberation happens the exact moment you lay down the internal weapons of resistance and step fully into the quiet, unconditioned sanctuary of your own awakened heart. Reflect now upon the archer's arrow, a singular, focused vector of pure energy designed to move with absolute precision, speed, and clear purpose. In your long journey through this human lifetime, you have launched countless arrows of ambition, creative energy, emotional investment, and hopeful effort into the world. Some of those arrows have struck their targets squarely, bringing brief moments of public triumph, personal pride, and joyful accomplishment. But many other arrows have fallen far short, bounced off unforeseen obstacles, or vanished entirely into the thick, unpredictable fog of life's shifting circumstances. When an arrow misses the target, the unawakened mind plunges immediately into self-criticism, sorrow, guilt, or bitter resentment toward the world. You wonder why your best efforts were not enough, why your dedication went unrewarded, or why unseen forces seem to align against your noble intentions. But the profound wisdom of the Dharma teaches us the sacred art of right action, combined with radical detachment from results. A master archer who understands the deeper cosmic laws places all their mindfulness, physical posture, breath control, and spiritual devotion into the singular act of drawing the bowstring. They stand rooted in the earth, breathe deeply into the belly, align their focus with pure intent, and release the string with absolute clarity. But once the arrow leaves the physical bow, it no longer belongs to the archer. It belongs entirely to the wind, the atmospheric pressure, gravity, and the vast space through which it travels. To obsess over where the arrow lands while it flies, or to weep bitterly while it is in midair, is to inflict needless torture upon your own soul over forces far beyond your control. Look back at your life on this day, August 2, 2026. How many arrows of effort have you released into the world over the past years? How much heavy grief, shame, and disappointment are you still carrying over targets you missed decades ago, relationships that ended, or goals that dissolved before you could touch them? The past is a closed book, frozen in time, and no amount of regret or self-flagellation can rewrite a single character on its pages. Your greatest victory before the sun sets today is to grant yourself total, unconditional forgiveness for every single arrow that fell short of its mark. Realize with deep gratitude that every single experience, every triumph, every humiliating failure, every unexpected detour, and every painful heartbreak was a necessary spiritual lesson designed to refine your inner posture, strengthen your heart's resilience, and align your soul with higher wisdom. You are not defined by the targets you missed. You are defined by the purity of your presence, the sincerity of your effort, and the boundless compassion you bring to this present breath. As the sun begins its steady, silent descent toward the horizon on this second day of August, the natural world offers us a profound, breathtaking lesson in the eternal truth of anicca, the universal law of impermanence. Look up at the sky as the brilliant, harsh light of midday gradually softens into warm golden shades, deepens into brilliant crimson, transforms into soft violet, and gently dissolves into the quiet, dark indigo of twilight. The sun does not cling frantically to the afternoon sky. It does not fight against the oncoming shadows of night. It surrenders completely to the natural cosmic rhythm of time with absolute grace and grandeur, illuminating the surrounding clouds with unimaginable beauty, precisely because it is in the process of letting go. Everything in this physical universe is constantly passing away, shifting, and transforming into something new. The fleeting thoughts that move across your mind arise, linger for a brief second, and vanish like smoke in a spring breeze. The complex emotions that swell within your chest rise like giant ocean waves, reach their peak, and inevitably dissolve back into the silent sea of awareness. The physical body you inhabit matures, changes, softens, and slowly moves toward its natural rest in the earth. Even the highest granite mountains are being imperceptibly worn down by the falling rain, and giant stars in distant galaxies are continually born, burn brightly, and extinguish themselves in the deep abyss of space. Why then do we suffer so deeply in our human lives? We suffer because we continually attempt to build permanent homes out of impermanent clouds. We grasp tightly at fleeting pleasures, temporary circumstances, and changing relationships, expecting them to satisfy the eternal, unquenchable thirst of the immortal soul. When you accept the impermanent nature of reality not as a sad tragedy, but as a liberating truth, a profound shift takes place within your consciousness. You no longer react with terror or panic when difficult cold seasons arrive, because you know with absolute certainty that they are merely passing weather patterns in the vast sky of your life. You no longer cling desperately to joyful moments with fearful, needy hands, because you appreciate them deeply as precious, transient gifts to be enjoyed fully while they last. Before the sun sets today, take a quiet moment to observe the subtle beauty of impermanence surrounding you everywhere. This day is gently ending, stepping aside to make space for the peaceful, restorative rest of the night. In the exact same way, let this moment mark the complete end of your long internal war. Let the fading twilight carry away the heavy, dusty baggage of your past expectations, your restless anxieties about tomorrow, and your relentless, unforgiving demands upon yourself. A timeless Buddhist guide has just been released, created to help you carry the wisdom of the Buddha into every day of your life, long after this video ends. If your mind has been overwhelmed, your heart burdened, or your path uncertain, this may be exactly what you've been searching for. For more than 2,500 years, the teachings of the Buddha have helped millions of people overcome fear, anxiety, attachment, anger, and suffering. Now, those timeless teachings have been gathered into one powerful collection. The Buddhist Wisdom Bible, 365 Ancient Teachings for Inner Peace, Success and Happiness, is a 250-page treasury of timeless wisdom, featuring 365 profound Buddhist teachings designed to help you cultivate inner peace, emotional resilience, clarity, wisdom, success, and lasting happiness. One lesson. Each day, you'll also receive 5 exclusive bonus guides carefully selected to deepen your understanding of Buddhist philosophy and help you apply these ancient principles to your daily life. Are you ready to transform your mind and change your life, one teaching at a time? Get instant access through the first pinned comment. Special launch pricing is available for the next 72 hours. Now, as the long twilight shadows stretch across the earth and the noisy chatter of the external world begins to hush into stillness, the true purpose of this day becomes crystal clear to your spirit. Your greatest victory was never meant to be a grand public spectacle, an earth-shattering achievement, a glittering award, a vast fortune, or a sudden stroke of external luck that changes your material circumstances overnight. Those are merely fleeting moments of earthly dust caught in the sunlight for a brief instant and then scattered by the next cold wind. Your true victory, the one that causes the ancient devas to rejoice and brings deep ancestral healing to your entire lineage, is the quiet, invisible victory that takes place within the sacred sanctuary of your own heart before the sun sets tonight. It is the victory of choosing quiet forgiveness over burning bitterness when you have every worldly reason to remain resentful. It is the victory of choosing still, rooted presence over frantic, obsessive worry when the future remains entirely uncertain. It is the supreme victory of laying down your bow and arrow, stepping off the exhausted battleground of constant striving, and resting deeply in the profound realization that you are already complete, already worthy, and already whole. You do not need to alter your personality, repair your past, or become someone else to be worthy of deep peace. You do not need to travel to a hidden mountain monastery or cross distant oceans to find the Buddha. The Buddha is not a historical statue made of bronze or stone. The Buddha is the quiet, unblemished awareness looking out through your own eyes at this very second. As the stillness of night falls upon the land, take a long, slow, deep breath into the center of your lower abdomen. Feel the life force moving through your veins, warm, vibrant, timeless, and pure. Release every last drop of physical tension from your shoulders. Unclench your jaw, soften your eyes, and let your heart open completely like a lotus under the moonlight. Let go of the need to manage, control, or know how every detail of your future path will unfold. Trust the vast, ancient wisdom of the Dharma that guides all things in perfect, silent harmony. Walk into the quiet evening with a calm, serene smile resting on your lips, knowing in the deepest depths of your spirit that you have already won the only battle that ever truly mattered. May your mind remain as clear and undisturbed as a high mountain spring. May your heart expand as vast as the twilight sky, and may you rest tonight in the gentle, timeless, unchanging peace of the awakened path.